Stylish Naija YouTube channel. Today I'm going to show you how to cut and sew a trendy sleeve. So I really don't know what name to niche this sleeve, so I'm just going to call it a trendy sleeve because I've been noticing this sleeve for some time now with the pictures going around on Instagram and on Pinterest. So I just decided to make a video of it. So if you notice, you could see the picture up there. The sleeve is like basically it's like a pencil sleeve, and then it has a balloon and something like a funnel and parts on it, or a protruding part rather. So we're just going to do justice to that sleeve. It's really simple, but it looks a little bit complicated. So, and thanks to all of my old and subscribers. And if you are new to my channel, if this is your first time of coming across Stylish Naija YouTube channel, you are highly and very welcome. And if you have not subscribed, please subscribe, like my video, and then share my videos. So guys, let's just get started now. So you see, and this is the part I'm going to use this as the basic sleeve. That's the long part, that's the long sleeve of my sleeve. So I'm not going to start it from scratch in cutting out a pencil sleeve. So I'll use my sleeve pattern. I'm just going to measure out the length, and then I'll elongate it to cut out the straight part. And then this is the part that I'm going to use, this black fabric. I'll use it to do the balloon part. So the balloon part is going to be divided into two, so I'm going to explain as I go along. So I'm just going to cut this out now, and then before we start working on the other one. Okay, so I finished cutting out the pencil and sleeve, that's the long sleeve. So the next thing I'm going to do now, because if you see that sleeve is actually the puff that was placed on it was actually placed from one part, that's from the bicep, from the bicep to like the wrist, and to like the elbow part. So I've already put notches on my basic sleeve, but I'm going to explain to you. So you are going to measure your bicep from your basic sleeve. So this part like this, that's the top part of your sleeve. This part, that's your bicep area. So for this, from this top part, I'm making use of 7 inches. So I put a notch on the 7 inches. That's the part where I'm going to start to pleat the puff on. And then from this 7 inches, it's going to come to the elbow part, that's this part, which is about 14 inches for this sleeve. So I'm going to pleat from this point to this point, and then the other protruding one that came out is going to start from this point, and then it's going to run up to this point. So I have 7 inches, I have 14 inches, and then I have 18.5 inches. So it's really simple. What we are going to do, you're just going to take another fabric. If you are making use of the same fabric, you can decide to make use of the same fabric. Depends on how big and wide, how full you want your puff to be. So it is your fabric that matters. So for this case, I'm just going to make use of about 27 inches. That's the width that I'm making use of, is 27 inches. And then the length that I'm making use of is 17 inches. So that's what I'm going to, this is what I'm going to use for my puff. So from this point like this, I'm going to open it up, and then I'm going to pleat. I'll do it on the machine so for you to see. I'm going to pleat this now. We're going to start from this point like this. We're going to pleat this, let it enter into this point, and then we're going to bring it to this point, and then we're going to place it. And then before then, the other protruding one, we're going to join it to this before we do that. So here's how it's going to be. So you're just going to take another extra fabric, because if you want to cut it the same, you won't be able to get the shape out properly. So I have another fabric here that I'm going to use. So I'm just going to measure out what I want, so you can determine how wide you want it to be. You understand? You can determine how wide you want it to be. So for this, since I've just folded my fabric, and then I'm going to be marking it out again for you to see. So I'm going to mark. So you're just going to, you could use your curve. You could use your curve. So for this point now, I'm going to make use of about 10 inches. I'm going to try 10 inches. If it's going to be too big, I'm going to reduce it. So I'm just going to put my curve like this, and I'll just create a curve like this. So you see what I have. You see what I'm doing. So you see how I'm creating the curve. this part is going to be protruding. This is going to be the protruding part up to this point. So I'm just trying to set it out and properly. So I'll cut it out now. So I've cut it out. So I folded into 2. I folded into 4 because you are going to sew and turn. So I'm going to put a notch at the middle here, and then you are going to take the part that you are going to be using for the balloon also. You are going to put a notch here also at the center. So after putting a notch here at the center, so I'm going to go and sew and turn. So I'm going to stitch this together like this. I'm going to stitch it round like this together. I'll stitch it round, and then I'm going to attach it. So that's after stitching it round. I'm going to attach it to this point. I'll sew here round, and there, this part also, I'm going to turn it also, and then I'll attach it. So I'm going to go and do that. Okay, so you see I finished stitching this. So I've turned it in, and then I've stitched. So the next thing I'm going to do, so this part now, I'm going to this folded end. So you sew this and turn it also. I'm going to join them together now. If you are going to be aligning it, you can decide to stitch them separately, turn it before you line it, so it will still be okay. So I'm going to just place the middle, the center on the center, and then I'm going to just stitch. So I'm going to go and iron it out now, and then before we continue. Okay guys, so you could see I fixed the down part, that's the protruded part. I fixed it to this part. So the next thing we're going to do now, we're going to start fixing on my basic sleeve. So you remember this is the part that I notched, that's the bicep part, and then this is the good side of my fabric. So here's what we're going to do like this. I'm going to pleat, excuse me, I'm going to pleat this part like this. I'm going to pleat it here like this. So I'm just going to do it for you to see, but in order to do it, I'm going to take it this way. You see what I'm going to do is facing up like this, because I'm going to pleat and then I'm going to flip it in like this. So here's what we're going to have. It's going to be like this. So I'm just trying to turn it. Okay, so you see this is the right side, and then this is the right side. So I'm pleating here, and then I'll flip to this point. So I'm just going to start from this point. So I'll stitch about 1 inch inwards first before I'll start pleating. Okay, so you see I finished stitching. So here's what I'm going to have. So it's going to come like this, and then for this other part, here's what we're going to do. This unfolded part, that's the part we're going to pleat. So that was the essence of sewing and then turning this part. So you are going to take this part like this, and then this other stitch part, sorry, the other notched part, I'm just going to start pleating it again just like this. I'll pleat it now on this part now. That's where I'm going to start pleating. So I'm just going to do like what I did. I'll stitch like about 1 inch. You see this edge is folded, so that is what will make what you are doing neat. Okay guys, so you see I finished stitching this part. So the next thing we're going to do now, I'm just going to flip it open. Let's see what we have done. So it's going to be like this. Wow, this is looking so lovely. So you can see the inside. This is the front part. So you see how it's going to be. So it really came out well. So I'm just going to finish it up for you to see the concluded and the finished part. So what I'm going to do now, I'm just going to take my sleeve measurement. So in measuring my sleeve, in taking my sleeve measurement, these parts, you're just going to tuck them in as you stitch your sleeve together on the sides. So you're just going to tuck them in, just tuck them in. So you see, because of its excess, so when as you're stitching it down, you're just going to be holding this part in a little bit, and then you stitch. So I'm just going to do that and then show you the final look of the sleeve. So I'm so loving this sleeve. I'm so loving this sleeve. It came out beautifully well. So I'm going to show you the concluded and the finished sleeve. So I'm just going to take my measurement from this point now, and then I'm going to stitch. So here's what I was saying. This part, these edges, because they are excess, you're just going to tuck them in a little bit as you are stitching. So make sure they are together, and then the edge also. Okay, guys, so you could see what we have at the end of the day. So you see, and this part that I was talking about, so this part is going to stand like this. So if you want this part to be firm, you can decide to add interfacing to it to make it really be, firm and strong. And then for your balloon, if you want it bigger, you could decide to increase the width of your fabric and then double it, and then iron interfacing on it to make it thick and strong. So guys, so you see the end, this part is going to be like this, and then you see this other part is going to be like this. So guys, so at the end of the day, we achieved what was on the picture. So thank you so much, guys. So I'll see you in my next video. Thank you so much.